Welcome to this brief video on how you can use the Xpertdoc solution to create your summary of benefits and coverage documents. The Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act requires that all health insurance carriers provide clear and consistent information to members and enrollees. The Department of Health and Human Services has defined a summary of benefits and coverage document to meet this requirement. Insurance carriers must be prepared to provide this SBC document by September 2012. The SBC requirements establish formatting and content specifications that must be adhered to in your production of an SBC document for your members. This requirement applies to fully insured groups, individual health plans, as well as self-funded groups. The SBC must be distributed upon new enrollment, when coverage changes, at renewal, or at any time upon request. You must make the SBC available as soon as possible, but no later than 7 business days. And it may be provided in electronic or paper output format. Xpertdoc is a powerful and flexible document output solution. We have used our technology to implement an end-to-end process to generate SBC documents. This system can be deployed on the cloud or as an on-premise solution. I'll now illustrate how you can use the Xpertdoc solution to produce your SBC documents. This will include the use of a web form that has been created to gather the data that is needed to produce your SBC document. It will also leverage a pre-created SBC template document that has been made to conform to the requirements of the SBC document. I've navigated to a web data entry form that is part of the Xpertdoc solution. As you can see, I'm being asked to enter information that will go into the composition of my SBC. I have several different field types, such as plain data entry, text data entry fields that I simply key in information, as well as fields like drop-downs, radio buttons, and even things like date pickers, which restrict the user to selecting a date value from a calendar. You also have the ability to dynamically include or exclude fields within your form based on responses that the user provides as they're filling it out. You can see at this time I'm being asked to enter in-network and out-of-network information. However, if I clear the checkbox that pertains to the applicability of out-of-network terms, you can see that the fields that request out-of-network information have disappeared. You can also further control the options that are available to the users filling out the form by introducing fields such as drop-down lists. In the case of the specialist visits field, you can see that I've only presented the user with 2 options to select. Your form will obviously be tailored to the specific plan options and coverages that you offer. It should be noted that customizing this form can be done through a simple user interface that's provided within the Xpertdoc solution framework. One other important note is that you have the ability to include external content in the generation of your SBC document. A good example of where this may be useful is for the coverage example portion of the SBC that is required. If a user has pre-created an SBC coverage example Word document, it can simply be selected at the time this form is being completed, and it will become part of the generated SBC document. Similarly, you may want to include something like a company logo within the output of the SBC document. Again, it can simply be selected as an image file from your local file system, and it will appear as part of the generated SBC. Once you're satisfied with the information that you've entered on this form, it's simply a matter of clicking the Generate Document button, and the system will take the information that you've entered and consolidate that with the SBC document template that has been created to produce an output Word document that represents the results of both the data that you've entered and the SBC requirements that have been pre-coded within my template. The results are that you have the information presented in the format that is required, as well as things like the specific logo that was requested during the entry of data, And if I scroll through my document, you should see the coverage example that was also requested. It should be noted that both the data entry form and the template can be easily tailored to meet the specific requirements of your coverages, plans, or branding. There are a few other highlights of the Xpertdoc SBC solution that are worth pointing out. The SBC template document that was demonstrated was pre-designed to enforce the content and formatting specifications laid out by HHS. That means that all the generated SBC documents will inherit the content and formatting as required. This template can easily be tailored and maintained in Microsoft Word to meet requirements for things such as your specific coverage and plan options, changes to the SBC mandate that may need to be implemented, or any carrier-specific information that you may like to include, such as logos or coverage examples. Similarly, the data entry form that you saw can also be customized in an easy-to-use web user interface that requires no programming. You may wish to do things like limiting data entry field lengths, or provide only specific selectable plan option values that apply to your coverages. The demonstration provided showed how you could use the Xpertdoc solution to generate an SBC document from end to end by requiring the user to enter all of the information needed to compose the SBC. As an alternative, you could leverage Xpertdoc's flexible integration options to incorporate the production of an SBC into existing workflows or systems such as policy administration or CRM. You could also remap the data used in the template to extract information directly from your source systems instead of from the web data entry form. However, given the tight deadline to adhere to the mandate to produce SBC documents, the manual SBC production approach may serve as a good contingency plan.